The Big Baby Tour comes to the Grand Sierra, starring comedian, actor, writer, producer, book author, podcaster, and young mom, Whitney Cummings.
Hi, young mom. Thank you. I think you're going to get your journalism degree taken from you for saying that. I believe that's misinformation, but I'll take it.
That was brutal honesty. And you've been asked about like what being a mom has meant and how you've changed and all that. But I wanted to ask you, why is this the right time for you to be a mom?
Well, I'm finally not insane. Is one. I think that, look, I'm very pro waiting till you're going to hit it out of the park before you actually bring a human into this world. It's very odd because, whatever, my gynecologist, whoever it is, they call it a geriatric pregnancy at 35. At 35, they start calling it geriatric. So in the medical community, that's like horrifyingly old, but I'm just like, can we encourage women to have children later when they're, have their life together and are responsible adults? Like, sorry, I didn't have my child at prom in a toilet. Like, why would you want that? Like, if I had my baby even a year sooner, I would have sold him for Taylor Swift tickets. So let's just take the win that I waited till I'm a mature, functioning adult, please.
What do you do with Henry when you're out working right now?
Oh, wow. He comes on the road with me sometimes, and I try to go to all the, I really appreciate it. Having a child really also made me like a human, because when I tour, I'm usually in at 5:00, fly in, do the show, fly out that night to the next city. And it's just grind. And, now that I travel with him, I'm like going to the local aquarium and the museums, and I'm actually able to enjoy the cities that I'm in. And I think that's more important than ever at a time where on the internet, you would think everybody hates each other and we're all at war with each other in America. And then you go out in the world and you're like, no, that's just the internet. The internet's a fake world. And it's very good for me to go out into the real world. And people are like so nice to me. And I'm like, are you secretly mean on the internet? Or is this it's just, we're kind of all in this simulation online, and it's nice to kind of, having a kid is what it had to come to for me to like go out and do fun things and make eye contact with human beings.
Well, you mentioned haters on the internet. If you go on Instagram or TikTok, whether you're talking about breastfeeding or cesarean or what you do, there's always going to be people that take either side. How have you dealt with that in terms of trying to make it a positive experience?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question, because I really feel like I had, being a female comedian with a lot of content on YouTube helped prepare me for moms on the internet because I have a very thick skin now. And, it's funny because people always talk about the village, like women are supposed to have a village around us. And when I envision that, I think like, women with long hair, like sitting cross-legged around like a fire, singing and rubbing your feet. That's not the village. That's never been the village. The village is just a woman you've never met screaming at you across the parking lot. Like, you better have sunscreen on that baby. Like, it's, it's a little more aggressive than I would have imagined. But I actually really appreciate it, because when you're a mom, you don't even know what to ask. You don't even know what advice you need. So I really appreciate it when women at grocery stores just yell at me, has he been to the dentist yet? I'm like, no. When does he go to the dentist? Oh, they're like, why does he have a haircut? I'm like, when do I do that? Like, I kind of appreciate it. It's helpful. I'm a comedian. I'm used to being heckled on stage. So heckling me in public with parenting advice, I actually appreciate it.
I saw your interview on Kelly and Mark, and you're talking about going to the playground, right? And people are talking about what you have in your juice box. And you say, hey, I didn't go through all that when I was a kid.
No, I don't. Look, when we were kids, we had a slide made out of sheet metal. I mean, it was made out of tetanus metal, like uranium, like Chernobyl made our slides, and it would bake in the hot sun, and it was like a skillet. It was like a hot skillet. And now, I mean, my sunscreen was like baby oil. Like, by the way, I just learned baby powder. There's been a lawsuit and it was full of arsenic and chemicals. Like, regardless, the worst parent today is the best parent 30 years ago.
Yes.
So I think the hardest part of parenting now is more, how do we add a little adversity in? Like we're almost taking such good care of our kids. Like, are they going to have any adversity at all? Luckily, I do sometimes order things off the internet that show up and are straight up traumatizing to my children. I ordered him a big lion, like a stuffed animal lion, and it was a horror show. Like it looked like it was drawn by a schizophrenic person in jail. Like the eyes were all crooked and stuff. So I do by accident, thankfully, give my child a little bit of adversity every now and then because I take a melatonin and go crazy on Amazon.
Hey, one thing you don't take, I know you said on another interview, was Botox, right? You're more graceful to yourself about aging, right? Now, you used to be more uptight about getting older. How did that change, and what was the thought process?
And I don't know if it was uptight. It was fear, I mean, I'm in a business where you're on camera a lot. And, I was told very young, 26, 27, you should start getting Botox, it'll prevent wrinkles in the future. But then you're kind of like, am I preventing them or am I just never going to ever have them? If I'm getting it, it's got, and I realized I was having so many issues communicating with people. My romantic relationships weren't very good. And I was like, wait, maybe it's because I don't have any micro expressions. Like, how is my partner supposed to understand what I'm saying if I'm always kind of just like, where have you been? What's going on? Oh, you didn't notice I was mad. Like, how can you possibly communicate without micro expressions? As an actress, also when I work in television, I need to kind of have micro expressions. And I sort of was like, what is this thing where we spend all day trying to get out this Epstein list. We're anti-creeps that are into underage girls. Why am I trying to look underage? I'm just going to attract these creeps that we all want to put in jail. Like, I don't want a man that is into a woman who has no wrinkles. That's a red flag, So to me, I kind of just went, you know what, let me just I also got pregnant. And when you get pregnant, they're not, you're not supposed to do Botox. And I realized how creepy my response was when I went I was like, oh, let me get a touch up. And the doctor went, oh, we're not, supposed to do Botox when you're pregnant. I was like, oh, it's probably fine. And he was like, no, there's something called gray baby syndrome where the baby comes out gray. And I was like, so here. And I was like, whoa, the fact that I didn't immediately go, like, I was like in my head sort of assessing the risk. That's not a healthy response. And, people actually think I look younger now. I don't know if, maybe people call ugly babies cute. Maybe they're doing that. Who knows? But
No way.
I kind of think wrinkles are a sign of youth at this point.
Hey, I wanted to ask you, I know we're promoting your show at GSR coming up on Friday, but you're also a book author. I just downloaded, by the way, I'm Fine and Other Lies.
Oh, gosh.
So it's on my list. How have you evolved from that person that wrote that book?
Yes. Oh, my gosh. I mean, look, there is, this thing that I think, a lot of people go through when you got known pretty early. I mean, my first stand-up special, I was 26 years old. Imagine like introducing yourself to the world with all of your deepest, darkest secrets and thoughts you had at 26 years old. They're great jokes. I stand behind them, but I was nuts. And I do feel like I kind of grew up in public in a way. And, comedians they're like, everyone's like, comedians are mentally ill and crazy. Yes, of course. But I think everyone has crazy. We just advertise it. And I've spent so much time kind of like sharing my deepest, darkest secrets and following the footsteps of my heroes, whether it's, George Carlin or Richard Pryor, or comedians that sort of share their most embarrassing moments. And I'm just excited to kind of have matured, grown up a little bit, got sober. And now I get to sort of reintroduce myself after having a kid as like, thank you for going along on this ride with me. But, I'm more of an adult now. And I do think that as someone that advertised and shared so much about my like hot mess dating life and romantic blunders, I think around like early 30s, a lot of girls that followed me were like, we're married and have kids now, like get it together. And I'm like, all right, see you in 10 years when I do. So now I'm kind of like, I'm finally caught up, and I'm just excited to share like, deeper insights now that I'm a mom, because obviously everything, the way that I see the entire world changes. And I'm just grateful that people have stuck with me for 6 specials as a single nightmare, hot mess. And now I get to be, a messy mom.
I would never call you that. The show's coming up at the GSR Friday. You can get your tickets, whitneycummings.com.
Yeah,
we're looking forward. It's going to be a spectacular night.
Did you know that Reno has the highest divorce rate in the world?
Really?
Because of some residency law. Should I get a journalism award? Should I
I
get
think
a
so.
Peabody?
You got me on that one.
Look, Reno is the divorce capital of the world. 13.9%. Divorce capital of America.
And is there a reason for that?
I saw it on alexjones.com. It's got to be true.
Okay. Yeah, of course it has to be. Yeah. No BS on that particular show.
Residency law. I don't know. I didn't look into it a bunch, but I will by the time that I'm there Friday night. I will have jokes about it and an explanation.
Absolutely. Hey, before you go, one of your friends, Hannah, was on our station a few months ago. So I know she's someone. Yes.
Yeah, love her.
And you said something in an interview, I think it was the New York Times, where the whole approach of female comics, you view it differently because of someone like her.
Yeah. I mean, when I was coming up as a female comic, the idea of having self-esteem wasn't really on the menu. It was kind of, you advertise you're more self-loathing, low self-esteem, self-hate. And then you try to get your life together and build a modicum of self-esteem and have confidence and self-respect. But, this next generation, they're coming out with, they're having self-esteem and self-worth, and they don't have to degrade themselves in order to get the audiences to like them or sympathize with them or feel relatable or something. And, also when I was coming up, there was this thing where you're not allowed to be glamorous or feminine. And it's just really cool to see this I'm jealous, but it's very cool to see this next generation be able to be like, self-assured and confident and dress feminine. I'm like, that wasn't an option really for me. We had to wear hoodies and hate ourselves, but it seems like that's changing. So that's promising, makes me hopeful.
No, there'll be a lot of love in the arena coming up on Friday, and I'm super grateful for your time.
Thank you. You're awesome.
The Whitney Cummings.
Thank you.